Hey Cold Blue family, I'm super excited to be back with you guys for another episode. Today, I just really wanted to bring some insight to business credit. I know a lot of you are probably thinking like, okay, Kaija, I have a business name, I have a business idea, I know exactly who my target market is, I have my branding together, I already have some marketing ideas. I need a little bit of funding or I'm trying to build my business credit. So I really wanted to kind of just give some up-to-date information regarding that. So of course we're in 2024 going into 2025, and I just really wanted to just help some individuals out, some entrepreneurs out who are on this journey and who are starting out. I know that and this is no slight to anyone else who may have posted videos just trying to help people like over the years with building business credit, but I know that like some of the information, even when I started my journey a year ago with building business credit, it's outdated, or rules may have changed. So we'll talk a little bit about that and what that looks like. I'm going to insert a screenshot of what my credit score is so that you can see as far as business credit, like so you can see what that is. It took me a year. It could have taken me shorter to actually build my business credit up to an 85. However, one of the main challenges that I had while starting this process is I ended up being a victim of identity theft. I'll talk about that briefly, but just kind of giving some of my struggles with that. And I actually ended up utilizing a service to actually help me build my business credit. So we'll get into all of that so that we can talk about like what that looks like. So, of course, one of the first things that you want after you've already figured out exactly who your target audience is, what exactly your marketing strategies are going to be. You've developed what kind of business that you're going to go into, and you've niched down to identify what specific specializations within an industry that you're going to go within. You want to develop a name if you have not already. When starting out and developing a name, I would definitely recommend, highly recommend, you do your research. You want to make sure that your name is not already being used. So I would start with just doing some social media searches, going online and searching different databases for like your state. So each state has their own, I don't want to call it Department of Revenue, but every state is going to call it something different. In Georgia, you can go online and search different businesses based off of name. So you can search to see if anyone else in your state has that name. You can also, and I'll insert the name of what that website is too if you happen to be in Georgia. But if you happen to be in other states, it may be called something else where you file your articles of organization, right? And that's where you determine, of course, whether you're going to be an LLC or an S Corp. For information regarding things like that, we'll kind of talk about that, but I definitely would suggest seeking legal counsel regarding that. Personally, my business is an LLC, but I'm transitioning as I go into the new year, and I've learned more. So I'll definitely do some like updated videos on like which direction I end up going after getting some more like legal counsel regarding that. But in today's video, I'm going to talk about things that I do know and things that I was able to kind of overcome and what I've learned and tips and tricks along the way. So name, yes. So you want to search Facebook, search Instagram, Twitter. I'm not really on Twitter much, but Twitter as well. You want to check to make sure that no one else has your business name. A Google search will help with that as well. Searching your business, searching, maybe putting the word "the" in your business name, after that LLC, or just searching that overall to kind of see. Once you've figured out if someone else has your business name or not, if they don't, hopefully they don't. I would then start the process of I would then start the process of starting your incorporation. So again, if you want to start with like an LLC, you can do so, but of course you want to start with first discovering what you want your business name to be. Along with discovering my business name, right? I searched it. No one else had my business name. I was grateful because my business name was something that I'm a believer. Everyone may not be, but I always say, like, that's my faith. God spoke to me about what my business name would be. And so I remember, I think I was at work one day. I was working a temp job, and because I had gotten laid off. And so I'm like, man, like, what is my business name going to be? What is it going to be? And so I ended up, God gave it to me, and I was so excited. And my business name, of course, Jack McGregor, is a combination of the word JAK, it stands for James Annie Kaija. James was my father, Annie was my grandmother, and they both passed away. And McGregor is the street that my grandmother used to own a very nice house on, back home. And I actually learned my first hustle within entrepreneurship there. I would do all kind of stuff. I would make stuff and sell it because people would always come over my grandmother's house and visit, and I would make a nice little change for a kid at the time. And so that always just kind of sparked my interest. And I remember back then when I was a kid, I would walk around and I would be so serious, and I would tell people I'm gonna be a millionaire one day, right? And they would laugh at me. But it's so funny how everything just comes full circle. But with saying all of that, that's how I developed my name. My name is something that's unique. It's something that other people do not have, and I'm grateful for it. Another thing that I would definitely suggest is once you develop your name, go ahead and do a website. These are things that I would suggest you do before becoming incorporated. And I know that some people would say well, why would you do that? It seems backwards. When I started this journey about a year ago, I thought it was kind of backwards as well. But once I understood that once going through the incorporation process and filling out paperwork, I already had all of that information put down. So for example, when I started out, I had my name. I then went on to do a business address. There's different ways that you can do a business address. I know a lot of people, there's a lot of different platforms that you can do a business address on. I know that there's Regis, there's Allegiance, there's iPostal. Now, I will say this, when it comes down to selecting a platform to do your business address through, right? There are certain ones that I personally have not had experiences with, but I've heard of people having challenges with. Because what happens is some of these platforms will offer virtual office addresses. However, when applying for major funding, they're looking to see if that's an actual, physical office space. They don't want to look, and when they pull it up on Google, it's a FedEx office. So that can cause problems when it comes down to going for larger funding. So it's better for you to go ahead and have all of your ducks in a row now, so that you don't have to worry about that later, okay? So, for example, I decided to go through Allegiance, and I can drop a referral link down below. It is $70 a month. It is an investment. If for some reason you're not at a place where you're man, Kai, just $70 a month is a lot outside of my current bills, right? We're trying to build and grow. So maybe you getting your $70 a month looks like doing an Instacart or doing DoorDash to make sure that that business bill gets paid, because you're going to need that for where you're going. We want to make solutions and not excuses for where you're trying to go for your next level, for your next steps, right? So if it's $70 and you can't take that out of the income that you may be producing, or maybe you don't have any income at all, we want to start trying to think about different ways that we can generate income to be able to actually make sure you can pay that $70 each month. Also, after I figured out my name, figured out my business address, I also did a website, as well as a business email. We don't want to have, careaffectionate@gmail.com. If you're starting a daycare service, you don't want to have a Gmail account as your you don't want to have a Gmail account as your ultimate business address. It doesn't look professional, and again, it can cause problems when it comes down to funding. So you want to have a business email address. I did my business email address through, I want to say that was through my Wix as well, and then I also have Google Suites. So I have that on my phone also. So I did business address, business email. We also did business phone before I even submitted paperwork for LLC. Initially, I used, I want to say it was like eVoice. I didn't like the aesthetics or like the simplicity of their platform. That's just me personally. So I ended up going with GoDaddy. GoDaddy has conversations where I got an 866 number for my business. I would suggest and highly recommend an 866 or an 800 number to actually go with your business, right? So after I did business name, business email, business address, business phone, we then continued on to submit my information for incorporation. So I decided to do an LLC to just start out. When I started out, again, like I was limited on funds. So I didn't have a whole lot of funds to be able to kind of like grow into that, right? So I had to grow into that ultimately. So I used, it was called Inkfile, but you guys don't butcher me in the comments if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly now. But I want to say it's called Busy now, or Bizzy. I believe that's how you pronounce it. And I'll drop that down below because I believe they have like a new name now. But that's what I use to file my my incorporation for my LLC. Now, I will tell you this. When I started off on this process of building business credit, I actually paid money for a service. It was an investment to actually help me with building my business credit because I did not know what I was doing, right? Once I caught on and I got guidance from a mentor, it was super easy after that. But before that, going through YouTube and trying to find individuals who would tell me information, it was just overwhelming for me. So I'm hoping that this video like breaks it down for you to like help you. Because I know that, so like I said, some of the information from previous videos before that I've watched before investing in a service, it actually ended up being like some information was outdated. So I just want to kind of like throw my 2 cents in there to help you so that you are proactively prepared before building business credit, okay? So after I submitted my information, it took a while because I don't know if it was Busy's platform or if it was the state of Georgia with like getting documents like incorporated. It was a while. Like I want to say it took like almost 2 months. With my very first LLC, it did not take that long, but this one it took a while. Once I got that back, it was then time for me to start building business credit, right? So in order to build business credit, you do need money. I'm not going to sit here and, lie to you guys and tell you that you don't. And what I mean by you need money, you need to be able to pay for the subscriptions for the trade lines, right? A trade line reports as a line of credit onto your business credit score and allows you to build credit. By you paying that trade line each month, it reports good payment history to the business credit bureaus, okay? So when it came down to doing trade lines and building, I used eCredible, I used Nav Prime, I use I think it's called Creative CEO. I also used Granger, as well as I used Quill. Love Quill. Love Quill. So these are some of the platforms that I used when building my business credit. Now, keep in mind that these platforms have minimum spend limits. That is one thing that I think that some of these companies may have changed. So, for example, you sign up. To sign up is free. That's not the problem for a lot of the platforms like Quill. To sign up is free. However, in order for them to report like good payment history onto your business credit, you have to spend a certain amount. So again, I'm telling you this as of 2024. As of December 2024, you have to spend at least $100 with Quill. And I mean $100 before taxes, right? And for you, like I said, you may not have that $100. You may be looking at a place where you're like, okay, Kaja, I don't have an extra $100 to spend. But you have a vehicle that you can use to go make some money. And if you don't have a vehicle you can use to make some money, we can also talk about, just different ways that, and I'll do another video actually. We'll talk about different ways that you can generate money from home if you have a laptop and Wi-Fi. There's other ways that you can make money without having a vehicle. So if that's where you are, no worries, we got you. Okay. I know we were talking about building business credit. Your EIN number is like the social security number for your business. So that is something that I would suggest doing before doing the incorporation process. It takes maybe about 20 minutes to get an EIN number if you apply during business hours. Which I believe is like 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. You won't have any problems with getting a EIN number. Don't want to forget to tell you guys that. So with the trade lines like Quill, right? You have a minimum spend amount that you have to spend in order for the trade line to report good credit history to the business credit bureaus. So with Quill, it's $100. And I want to say pay attention to the minimums for the other ones like Creative CEO. I believe you have to spend, I believe it's like either between 50 or 75 before taxes in order for them to report as well. When I started out on this journey, I was under the impression that it was going to be lower amounts for minimum spend, but I want to say like with a lot of the different trade lines like Quill, Granger, a lot of their rules have changed, and in watching the different videos that I've seen on Facebook, I haven't seen a lot of people talk about that. So for example, if you want to build credit faster for business credit, I would highly recommend selecting a couple of the trade lines and spending with them within a month. So for example, let's say you pick 3, whether it's Quill, Granger, and just say Uline for the sake of this example. You're going to want to shop with all 3 of those vendors consistently consistently each month. And I did this for my trade lines for about 3 months overall. Like once I got to that point. Now, the issue came into play for me when I first started out. Again, I started on this journey. I ended up going through identity theft, right? And with going through identity theft, I'm giving you guys the Cliff Notes version. I ended up having someone steal my mail. Stole my mail, activated a debit card, and actually racked up $30,000 in charges. Oh, I know you guys. So ultimately, that was super traumatizing for me, going back and forth with the bank, getting the police involved. So that was a journey within itself. Don't want to go into too much about that because it is still like an ongoing investigation into finding out exactly what happened with all of that. But it was very traumatizing for me. And when all of this was happening, I know this sounds super cliche, but oftentimes we may think as people like, oh, that'll never happen to me until it actually does. I never really did things that were out of pocket or outside of being responsible when it came down to even my personal credit as well as like business credit as I was in the process of building. So I was trying to just be as responsible and accountable as I could possibly be. And I never would have thought like my mail getting stolen in the process would be something that would go across my mind. So that's another thing as well, security. Make sure that you guys are taking care of that. But we'll get into that in a second. I want to make sure that we're staying on track. So if you want to build business credit faster, shop with more vendors each month for like at least 90 days, right? So for example, if you see yourself making that investment now, meaning like, okay, outside of my regular bills, I have an additional $300 that I can utilize towards business credit, right? If you have that money, then go ahead and shop with those 3 vendors. Or if you're an individual where you're like me, I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to make it happen regardless if I have the extra 3 within my budget. If I have to go out and make extra money or make extra money online, then I'm going to do so. That's the kind of mindset that I had when going on this journey, because I had a lot of other things falling into place for me as I was revamping and like kind of recovering from a lot of losses. So yes, I made it happen. And what I would do is I would shop with the vendors on a Thursday, right? I would shop with the vendors on a Thursday, and then on the second Monday, so a Thursday when I would get paid, I would because I was working at the time. I would shop with the vendors on Thursday, and then I would count, Thursday, and then I would go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, one Monday, and then I would count that whole week, and then the following Monday, that second Monday, I would pay that invoice. So for me, if I know I'm shopping vendors on a Thursday, like the week that I'm getting paid, right? I'm taking out money to be able to put aside to cover the invoice. You do not want to carry out or drag out your invoices. You want to be able to show them that, hey, I can pay my bills on time, right? So if I know that, like I said, I'm shopping that Thursday, I'm writing down in my notes, in my budget, okay, the second Monday, I'm going online, I'm paying all these invoices. Now, I know oftentimes you'll hear people talk about, oh, they're net 30, they're net 30. That's great. However, from what I've learned from various mentors, and even within my own experiences, it can affect your credit score by waiting the full 30 days to pay your business credit invoices. Don't do that. Shop on a Thursday, count 2 Mondays, pay that invoice, and continue to do that. Sometimes it takes a while for your paydex score to generate. That's why I highly suggest continuously, like I also had a Duns and Bradstreet credit signal subscription during that time. Within being able to do that subscription, I was able to see what my paydex score was, see how things were reporting. But I know you're probably thinking like, well, what did you buy? Did you just waste $300 with each vendor? No, I would buy things that I would use within my home. So for example, on Quill, you can buy toilet paper, you can buy paper towels and toilet paper in bulk, paper towels in bulk, printer papers. I actually bought a printer from Quill. Things that I'm actually going to use in my home. Instead of buying them from Sam's Club like I normally would, I would go onto Quill or Granger site and actually buy those items directly from them. I think I bought like a pack of gloves from Uline once, like some very like long gloves that kind of go, not the traditional ones for your hands, but they kind of go like almost halfway up your arm, to kind of like protect your hands. So, and I still have a lot of those gloves, which I love and I use to clean with. But I would say those would be things that I would definitely do as far as like building your business credit faster. Now, if you are in a situation where you're like, hey, I know my situation, I know that I can make an investment as far as maybe one trade line a month, I could probably spend $100 a month. Start there and build from there, and then you allows you to be able to set aside a little bit more money. But yes, it is an investment. I will say through my mentor that I had at that time, she was able to help me and like work with me, because especially after I started going through identity theft, I kind of put building business credit on pause for a while, because it was serious when someone, whoever stole my debit card. And again, I can only say so much right now, and I hope you guys understand what I mean by that. Again, once everything kind of like goes into full force and full throttle, I can talk more about that situation. But it was a serious matter when someone takes that much money from a bank, and does that much fraud. So it was a problem. And like I said, I'm just grateful that God was looking out for me with that situation. But again, so let's move forward. So with saying all of that, I know that like I said, with building business credit, it's important whether you can start out with 3 at a time, great, go forward. I know my mentor at the time, she encouraged me to do 6, but I just knew like I could not do 6 trade lines in 1 month. We're talking about an extra $600 potentially, because if you have to remember, you have to typically spend at least $100 minimum with most of these vendors. If it's not 100, it's at least 50 with each of these vendors, on top of paying my other bills. And at the time, that just wasn't like within a good financial comfortability for me. So I did 3, and then I would rotate between the 3. So if I did Uline, Quill, in Granger one month. The next month, I would choose, a creative CEO and another vendor to be able to kind of move forward and keep pushing when it came down to building my business credit. It was so funny because it takes a while for like your score to generate. So once my score actually did generate, I was like, oh my gosh, like my score generated, and I had to like text her immediately to let her know, like, oh my gosh, we did it. Now, I know you're probably thinking like, okay, now that you have your business credit, what does that show? What were the benefits of that, right? So two major benefits. One is when it comes down to building business credit, you being able to have business credit helps you with funding, right? It helps you obtain funding for your business that is completely separate from your personal account. When people go in and they have a business funding and they have established business funding, it helps them as far as obtaining loans for their business, right? Also, when it comes down to applying for different types of businesses. So, for example, let's say you decide that you want to go into the like car rental business. Some people build business credit so they can then go out and get vehicles within their business name to generate income to start a car rental business or to place cars on Turo or other platforms. Some people get cars, rent them out to Uber drivers or people who may need a car and they're willing to rent weekly. So there's various different options that you can do with that. You also, once building business credit, you're able to get commercial spaces like leases in your business name. If you decide that you're in a state where it's Airbnb friendly, you have the ability of using your business credit once it's established to go out, get, to get apartment spaces for Airbnb. Or if you're looking for more like commercial spaces and you want to have like a boutique storefront, you can utilize your business credit to leverage that when applying for a business lease as well. So those are different ways that it can just benefit you overall. I will say this, and I know like this was something that I was searching for a lot when starting out on this journey. When it comes down to business credit cards, right? And you are just now starting and you want your business credit cards separate. When I started out on this journey, I watched several videos where people would tell me, there's so many opportunities that once you build your business credit, you can have credit cards that are completely separate from your personal income. So I know that there are certain credit cards, for example, one that a lot of people would talk about on YouTube and other platforms as well would be the Sam's Club credit card, right? For a very long time, there were different types of Sam's Club credit cards. So oftentimes you'll see videos where individuals will talk about, apply for the Sam's Club store card, not the actual like Visa or MasterCard. Like apply for the store card, it'll give you high credit limits and it'll allow you to kind of like maneuver and do what you need to do regarding your business, right? So that you can kind of keep your cash fluid. So with the store card, and again, the videos that I had watched originally regarding like the Sam's Club store card, and I'm only telling you this from my own experience so that you don't have to experience this, okay? Some of these credit card companies or even store cards are switching over to being more of a charge card or a bank card, so to speak. So for example, I watched a couple of videos with following the instructions that people told me to do when it came down to applying for the Sam's Club store card. However, they now have different processes. So whether you're applying for the store card or even the charge card, either way, they're still pulling credit. I was under the impression that, and I followed the steps because I followed a video where a guy, he gave very detailed, like step-by-step, play-by-play on how to make sure that you have established business credit and to be able to apply for the Sam's Club store card. And I went into an actual physical store. I had someone pass me one of the iPads. I completed the application. And I just so happened to have Identity IQ on my phone, and I had an active subscription with Identity IQ. Keep in mind, I have that because of all the things that I've gone through with fraud and identity theft recently, or in the past year or so. So I ended up filling out the application. I put down all the business stuff, right? I had my business Duns and Bradstreet number. That's another platform that you can see your paydex score on. I had a Duns and Bradstreet number. With the Sam's Club store card, I went through all of the steps. I applied in store, and then I got towards the end, and it asked me. It's almost like the way they worded it was like a trick question. It says, "Oh, well, just put your social security here as stating you'll be liable if something happens to whereas the card holder defaults on the card payments." So I'm thinking like, well, maybe they don't run your credit for the store card because that's not the card that I'm applying for, right? I get towards the end and they did a hard pull on my personal credit, right? And I was pissed because, for one, at the time I was in the middle of credit repair. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, this is insane. Like, I thought that this was going to be just based off of my Duns and Bradstreet number because my business is fully registered on Google, website, everything active, everything legit and legitimized that I needed to have in place for my business. And so I'm thinking, like, I'm not going to have any problems. But ultimately, they ended up running my credit. And what I'm realizing is, it's to me, and if you guys have other cards, and I mean cards that you applied for in 2024, not cards like you applied for in like 21 or 22, but if you have cards that you've applied for in the last 6 months to a year with just business credit only, without your personal credit being pulled, drop it in the comments below so that we can help out others within the community. And then also I'll do like another video talking about my review if you guys have some good cards that are listed down below that end up working out for me and what I'm doing within my business as well. So if for some reason, like I said, you have good cards, drop them, because I'm curious, because I've searched high and low high and low looking for different cards that only do, like, your DUNS number, only do EIN in 2024, and I have yet to find them. And it seems like they used to exist like maybe a few years ago, but a lot of these cards, these store cards, are transitioning. Like, I believe, and I may be pronouncing the name of the bank incorrectly, but I believe it's Synchrony Bank is who now is the bank for all of the Sam's Club cards. And yeah, so just letting you know, if you're looking to, you hear a lot of people say, go get the Sam's Club card, it's EIN only. No, that's not true. Not anymore. Maybe when they applied for it, and that might have been a few years ago, but that's not the case now. So please avoid the hard inquiry if that's not something that you're looking to do. Some people are fine with the hard inquiries. Like, I've seen different videos, or I've learned about other entrepreneurs who are like, hey, I want access to those larger trade lines sooner because I need, the tools for my business, or I need the supplies for my business. So they don't mind you leveraging their personal credit in order to get those cards. But what I will say, and I know I can talk a lot, you guys. Wrapping it all up, when it comes down to the business cards, you need to have good personal credit in order to be approved, of course, for the business cards as well. You're not able to just do EIN only, or just do, DUNS number only cards. Now, I will say there was a card, I will say there was one card that I was able to get approved for with just my DUNS and EIN. However, it was a secure card. And for those that may not know, a secure card meaning that I would have to pay the deposit for the limit on that credit card, and then I would be able to, use that credit card. But whatever money I put into the card is what I was able to use. Not, hey, this is a line of credit of $10,000. Here goes a credit card. It wasn't a credit limit given to me up front. I had to put up the money ultimately. If, just to kind of explain what those differences are, versus kind of same thing like how if on the personal side, if you have a secure card, meaning that you have to put a deposit down in order to utilize that card, versus, if it's unsecure. Now, keep in mind, I was in the beginning stages of building my credit, my business credit. So when I applied for that card, I was like, hey, I don't want my personal social attached to it. I want to see what I can get for business funding without having to use my own personal score. So that's kind of how that went. But I hope that this information was super informative to you. I will be doing some other videos talking about like my process as far as what I'm doing regarding grant writing. I'm a big advocate for if there's certain things that I don't know how to do, or let's say it may be something that is it may take me a while to learn. Not that I'm incapable, but it may take me a while to learn. I think that that it's important to outsource. So I will be outsourcing for grant writing to be able to generate income for my business. But for one of the next steps that I'll be doing would be a SBA approved business plan. So we can also talk about that as well. So let me know down in the comments below. Like, I hope this video, as always, was super inspiring. Let me know if you have any other questions or any other topics you want me to elaborate more on, and I can make more videos to just kind of drop some knowledge. But Kode Blue, I'm so excited that you guys got a chance to learn some more with me, as well as me learn from you as well. Again, be sure to click like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you can get a notification for when all of the videos are dropping each week. I hope everyone is having an amazing day, an amazing week. Talk to you soon. Bye.